Hey everyone, Greg Staley here from Diverge Media, live from Oakville, tour stop of the People's Party of Canada here, and we're just going to get the footage started here and show you what's going on.
All right, are we all set there, JD? Excellent, here we go.
You know what's better when they shut the power off?
I give you the opportunity. Thank you so much for coming.
There's some cute lights in the refrigerator.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, man. Hello. No, it's okay. Just do it. Hi. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you for support. Don't forget, you can do all this stuff. You gotta go to
It's a little narrow.
Just saying. We also use 3 minutes. If you guys got a couple hours, you gotta do shifts. Somebody goes 12 to 2, someone goes 6 to 9. I don't know what it is. You got a minute? That'd be awesome. Hey, Bill. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you. Hey. Yeah, sorry, I'm shaking hands. I turned it. No, hold on. Okay. Go for it, JD.
Is it on?
Try now.
Hello?
There you go.
All right, we're good. Hello, Oakville.
Hello!
I prepared something for you guys today.
Yeah!
We are at a turning point in history. We are at a point where Canadians need unity. We need healing and we need understanding. We have seen liberal rule over these last 2 years push the goalpost further to the left. We have seen the rejection of Canada as a nation state, which is now slowly becoming Justin Trudeau's dream of a post-nation state. It is important for our constituents to understand that your future matters, your children's future matters, the future of the unborn matters. One does not need to be a master economist to understand that our level of debt is unsustainable. Our country now owes over $1 trillion. This is irresponsible. Justin Trudeau has had a comfortable minority government for 2 years with an NDP coalition. Parliament was effectively eviscerated because of the pandemic. $400 billion into deficit. Justin Trudeau is borrowing $500 million a day and costs taxpayers $600 million for this snap election, which he will lose because he made a strategic error. This affects all of you, Oakville. This affects all of Canada. This debt will need to be paid back one day. The Liberals will make you pay it back through inflation, through clever new taxes, and of course, interest payments. This catastrophic national debt will not be paid off until the year 2070, long after our current leaders have passed away. We never asked them for this. It was a gift to us. They don't care because it won't affect them and their future. Thank you, Anita Anand. And thank you, Justin Trudeau, for ruining our lives. This is their dream to bring about a full-blown socialism and eventually communism. All for a virus that has killed for less than 1% of the Canadian population. COVID is not what they hoped it would be, the worst disaster of our lifetime. But that wasn't going to stop them anyway. They saw an opportunity and they took it. Anita said she wants to vaccinate 5 to 12-year-old kids, all while Trudeau visited Oakville a few days ago at our drive-in movie theater. Aaron O'Toole also visited Oakville the following day. the man who will have no problem to nationalize a vaccine passport. Now the Liberals and the Conservatives are willfully violating human rights in Canada, and they are not respecting our Constitution. These elected officials have all sworn oaths and are in violation of those oaths. It's not unusual that I speak to people from Oakville who are in tears because they are scared of their future. A young mom who is coerced into being vaccinated while she is pregnant. She fears for her baby. A friend who will lose their job because they must be double vaccinated even though they work remotely. A nurse who sees what's going on but is muzzled by hospital administration or they will lose their job. I stand with our nurses who know the truth. Your justice is coming. But there is hope. It is a time for all of us to fire these politicians by exercising your democratic right to vote while you still can. There is hope for a future for this great country that we all once remembered before the times of lockdowns, before the times of vaccine passports, and before the times of Justin Trudeau. A time when rational thought and scientific reason still existed. Denying someone's right to freedom of speech is the first step towards tyranny. Denying a candidate an opportunity to debate defeats the purpose of democracy. Canada has a representative democracy where an elected official operates on your behalf. This is why not allowing a candidate to represent their constituents in a debate is wrong. In doing so, your voices are silenced. Rather than listening to the same old message from four talking heads, it's time to try something different. It's time for a new leader in Canada, a leader with reason, respect, fairness, and responsibility. A leader with unity. But for you, Oakville and Burlington, you have one job to do before that leader becomes a reality, and you have to do it right. It's time for you to vote with your conscience, not strategically, but with your conscience. Together, we will save our country from foolish policies that are harmful and divisive to Canadians. You have an opportunity to vote, and it's on Monday, September 20th. If you're thinking of voting Liberal, don't. If you're thinking of voting Conservative, don't. With either of those two outcomes, we will guarantee ourselves vaccine passports, lockdowns for whatever reason they feel is necessary, and of course, a socialist dream come true. The Conservatives are offering you a watered-down version of conservatism. They're splitting our vote, not the other way around.
Right.
They were once a party that stood for morals and reason, but they are no different now than the Liberals. For my friends who are still on the fence, it's time for you to decide. Do you want Canada or do you want globalism? The same old, or perhaps something new? I want our freedoms restored, and I know you do too. The tyrants will try and stop us. They will try, but they will fail. Our resolve is greater than their determination. The tide is turning, and the purple wave is coming. It's time for us to get excited. Let Maxime Bernier hear that you're excited. He's not far from where we are now. Let Oakville and Burlington know that you are going to give him a warm welcome to the 905. We are at a turning point in history. It's our future. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, how's it going? Okay, so now we have...
I just want to introduce very quickly Joseph Gilbert Jubenville, Oakville, North Burlington. He is your candidate.
Thank you, JD. Great speech. A lot of people are confused about the riding. Anything south of the 407 and north of Upper Middle, of course, is the riding of Oakville, North Burlington. Now, what to talk about? JD covered so many great topics. Vaccine status. I'm very clear. I am not vaccinated. I don't want to be vaccinated. The unfortunate reality is that my 2 children, teenagers, were vaccinated, not by my choice. I make it clear that I am pro-traditional vaccines, but I'm against the COVID vaccine, and I'm against mandatory vaccines, and of course, the vaccine passport. A lot of people are losing their jobs. We should not have to choose between making a living, feeding your family, and taking a vaccine, especially one that is untested. So that's my stance on vaccines. What's next? I'll make it quick on, yes? Voting. Elections Canada has given you a pencil. Please take a pen, blue, doesn't matter what color. Make a clear mark, don't pierce the ballot, and make sure it's a pen that's not going to leak. Their excuse for a pencil is that a pencil doesn't leak, which is bullshit. Thank you. Next, the lockdowns. Everybody assumes the lockdowns are over. What's next? Assuming that we can prove that the COVID is not a fraud, COVID exists, but you know what I'm saying. Climate lockdowns are next. So we have to push hard against these lockdowns. It's the day after the election, they're going to try to lock us down again. All right, what else do you guys want to hear? Vaccine passports, lockdowns. What's that?
What are you doing for the travel industry?
Wow, great question. I'm not sure what they're going to do. I want to go back to watch hockey in stadiums without a mask. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I want to go back to concerts without a mask or vaccines.
Yay!
I'll tell you what we're doing for hockey. First of all, I'm a hockey coach. Believe it or not, I'm the trainer, so I had to do all the contact tracing last year. If I was caught without my mask, they would have suspended my child's team for 3 games. So of course, as a hockey trainer, there's a shortage of hockey trainers, and my son is a goalie. There's a shortage of goalie. So while I was in the rink, I put on a mask, and it broke my heart. After this election, win or lose, we're going to make sure that children are not forced to wear masks to start with. And of course, I don't want hockey coaches to wear a mask while they're on the rink. That's insanity. Yes. So, exactly. Even as a hockey trainer, I had to leave, believe it or not, it sounds crazy, because only one parent could be at the rink at the same time. I had to leave the rink so my wife could watch my son play hockey. I'm not making that up. Imagine that. There was not an exception for the hockey trainer. What's that? Okay, so the solution, that's why I'm going to go back to the travel. We're going to make outdoor rinks, we're going to rent rinks, and we're going to create our own leagues. So it's going to be a mask-free, vaccine-free leagues. So same as concert. Let's have an outdoor concert, right? I don't know what we can do about traveling. Traveling overseas is going to be really difficult. That's going to be up to the airlines. So I'm not sure what to do about that. But if we have to organize our own concerts, organize our own soccer, hockey, flag football, that's what we're going to do. There's a lot of schools right now. I know there's one in Hamilton that's offering vaccine-free and mask-free schools. So open up your own schools, right? Start doing homeschooling. Any other questions? I'm out of time.
What about chief medical officers, specifically Theresa Tam?
Well, right off the bat, Ford proved that he believes that the chief medical officer in Ontario has more power than him. That has to change.
Yes.
Rob Ford would have stood up to these medical tyranny. It's a real shame. So now Theresa Tam, by the way, did you notice she's silent?
Yes.
Anybody know why she's silent? I have no clue.
They don't want to have anything negative come out.
All right, one last question. Sorry about the feedback.
How about for education? They kicked my girlfriend out of university for not.
Yes, I'm hearing a lot of stories. I heard of a fifth-year medical student that was forced to sign off. He now has to do 4 jabs a year for life. if he refused to sign off, a medical student, fifth-year student, he would have been kicked out of medical school. Thank you. Mike, anything else before Mike gets here?
That I know, with medical exemption from wearing masks, have the evidence, are not being educated, kicked out of the school, and not allowed to be online.
Wow.
That's right. That happened. Elementary school being denied education in Halton.
So she was saying, say that again?
A 9-year-old and a 5-year-old in Halton District School Board with exemption to mask because of medical conditions. On the second day, we're told they cannot return and can't get onto a virtual school until October 15th. So they're being denied education at the elementary level. They're being denied.
So the, yes, that's your education is, I don't know, I'm assuming it's a human right. It better be a human right. Right. That's terrible. So listen, Patriots, one last comment. Join the school boards, join the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, run for councillor, run for mayor. We need patriots at every level of government.
Yeah!
Okay? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest from Halton Hills. It's Sil Carl. Give it up for Sil Carl.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, Sil.
Hello, everyone. I was just in the crowd selling hats 5 minutes ago. This is what this party is about. We are of the people, for the people. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. It is truly an honor to stand with you in solidarity for freedom. My name is Sil Carl. I am the PPC candidate for Wellington Halton Hills, just north of here. Yes, it is true that we candidates are seeking the privilege to serve you as your member of parliament. But make no mistake, our words are not crafted for the sake of being elected. These words we share with you are from our hearts, which transcends any political aspirations. Whether we are declared victorious or vanquished, these words we speak will remain true well beyond this moment we share today. The cruise ship Princess Diamond showed in February 2020 the mortality risk of COVID. Of the 3,711 passengers and crew, 700 became ill, 9 people unfortunately died. From that moment, we knew the survival rate for COVID was 99.98%. As British economist Hayek said, emergencies have always been the pretext on which the safeguards of individual liberty have been eroded. Instead of protecting our vulnerable populations and isolating the sick, governments throughout established pandemic protocols and imposed outrageous restriction on healthy people, you and I. Merely existing is not living. A simple but prophetic phrase that defines why we resist, while others conform to the tyranny of safety that is upon us now. Our world has been plunged into a crisis of our government's making. Governments have taken upon themselves to become the stewards of our fate. They have decided that they know what is best for you, what is best for us. They have decided that it is the government's responsibility to keep you safe. The People's Platform has at its core the foundational theme of freedom. It is this precious commodity that fills me with passion, as you can tell. Yet it causes me distress. I am distressed as I watch ever-increasing draconian measures being imposed on Canadians from all levels of government. I fear for freedom in Canada. I fear the Liberal government's forced march into socialist dystopia, which is getting worse by the day. We are witnessing the loss of freedom of movement within Canada, between provinces, between the hardware store and the grocery store. The newest case in Canada is in Alberta. Yesterday, the Premier in Alberta announced draconian measures. You can't gather more than 10 people in your own household. All movement is becoming at the pleasure of the government. The vaccine passport is a portal to the horrifying specter of a social credit system that is now in China. A system that collects data on every person and their actions, for which a positive or negative score is applied. If your score is too low, you can't, for instance, get on a train or on a plane. In China, your social credit score is deemed bad enough, it will even bar you from the grocery store or suspend your bank account. Of course, there are those that say this could never happen in Canada. Those same people told us the shutdown would be for 2 weeks to flatten the curve, or at 19 months to flatten the curve now. We flattened this curve 19 months ago, and still we are not free. Those same people told us we need 70% of the population with 1 injection to be free. Then it became 80% with 2 injections. Now it's about to become 100% with 3 injections, and so on. This election, make no mistake, is about freedom. Merely existing is not living. Being alive is having the freedom to choose your destiny and the path that gets you there. We are in the fight for our lives. We fight for freedom to have choice and dominion over our own bodies. We fight for freedom to decide our own destinies. No more lockdowns ever again. No mandatory injections. No vaccine passports. On the 20th, if this is what you're after, vote PPC. Thank you.
Check. All right, thank you very much. There is no switch on that. Let's see. 1 second. Let me. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm Michael Bader. I'm the Burlington candidate. How's that? Is that okay? Is that okay that we knock out Emily and Karina and all the corruption and handlers? I wanted to ask you a question. How is the New World Order subscription going? You guys liking this New World Order? Going too much? Should I fix this? Is that okay? I'm going to go over here. Okay, so I'm going to come out over here with you guys up here, and I'm going to come around, and I'm going to say, do you guys want the New World Order or no? Do you want the real normal? Do you want to cancel your subscription to tyranny? Do you want to cancel it? I've been trying to cancel mine for about a year and a half now, and it feels like I'm in the 90s trying to quit my gym membership. Come on Tuesday, fax that on Wednesday. I'm sorry, he's on there for a month. So I don't trust these guys in any way, shape, or form. Do you? Now I'm going to reiterate what everybody said, and I'm going to jump back up here and hope I don't squeal. I wish they'd squeal. Okay, so we're going to end lockdowns. We're going to get a real normal. That is what you want? Do you want to have the real normal? Like, I mean, really, I got to hear you on this. Then what I'm going to tell you today, they've told you about the vaccine passports, right? You got that? No way. They told you about the lockdowns, never again. When I'm elected to the Member of Parliament, I want to submit a bill that says they will never ever be able to lock down again. Would you sign that bill? Is that the bill I should submit first? Now what happens is, you get Doug Ford, go to court June 2nd, and he gets his butt kicked. All of this is not a true emergency. We're done. So what does he do? 12 midnight. He goes in, he uses the COVID excuse, only so many members. All the members that will vote my way are allowed in. And he has the opening act. And then we got to go to court again. So in my bill, it's going to say, anytime the government wants to infringe your rights, they have to prove that they can infringe your rights. What do you think about that? Because right now, we have to prove they're infringing our rights. And that's not the way it works. They should have to wait months in court. And that's the bill I want to put together. What do you think about that? No more lockdown! I want smiles, not masks. How about you? And I just want to have fun again with my family. I want to hold people. I want to hug them. I want to shake their hands. I want to have 1 million people over at my house. Do you guys want to be told what to do? No! If you want to see Grandma, do you want to see Grandma? Is it your right to do that?
Yes!
Now,
My grandchildren in the U.S. I miss my babies.
ma'am. Okay, look at this. Okay, I had a speech ready for the debate yesterday. I had something come up. So this is my take. You ready? Justin Trudeau, Aaron O'Toole, and every single person from that Theresa May down to everybody, John Tory, all these people need to go. There is blood on their hands. Do you agree? 5 times the suicides. There are parents who do not have their children now because of Justin Trudeau, John Tory, Doug Ford, and all of these guys. We got to get rid of them. What do you think? Now, the only way I'm going to get rid of these guys is if we band together. I need scrutineers. I got 22 polls in Burlington. I thought I need 22 people. I go on a Zoom meeting, and they're like, hey, Mike, a poll has a bunch of little tables under it. I'm like, oh my God, seriously. So now we got 22 times 5. 110 people I need. Is there 110 people here who have 2 hours in the morning or 4 hours, 3 hours? They can do the night after their night shift. They work the night shift, so they want to do the evening. Just please think about your call of duty right now. This is your moment. We are at a crossroads in our society. Our family is under a culture attack. Our economy is under a reckless spending attack. And everybody here is under attack. So we need to band together. I need the guys at the back, right here, right there. You can go to michaelbader.com. You hit the volunteer button. I will check it at night. Kathy will find you either JD. He'll get you over to Gilbert's team and his polling stations, or mine. Between all of you, you must live near one of the polling stations. You got it. And if you can donate your time and coordinate with Kathy, then we have a better chance of a better result. Are you guys in? Are you going to help out? Seriously? Everybody's getting on their phone right now. michaelbader.com, volunteer. No? Anybody? No? That's okay. We got time later to do that, but not much time because it's Monday. Monday's a big day. So let's reiterate. We want no lockdowns. We want smiles, not masks. We don't want mandatory vaccines. We want to stop the reckless spending. And I want to talk about a subject that some people didn't talk about because they took all my subjects, guys. Going last, you got to make up something. So I'm going to go to my 4th point that I usually talk about. And this is about our brothers in the West, right? The Paris Accord is a bad deal. Do you think the Paris Accord is a bad deal? I mean, okay, think about this when someone says something to you. We have this beautiful boreal forest, the equivalent of the Amazon forest. What a beautiful thing. It cleans our air, it gives us our CO2, it cleans everything. And it does that for 27%. Don't quote me, it's somewhere, do your research, but it's a lot. We only produce 1.23 or 4% of pollution. So if I did the Paris Accord, they'd be paying me. What do you think about that? I'm cleaning more air than I'm polluting. And the people that represent 50% or more, you got to go look at the numbers, I forgot to memorize them. China and India, they're gobbling up oil, gas to get their economies going. What are we doing to our brothers out west? Putting the screws to them. So I want to give you got to get through to your liberal friends. You got to get through to your conservative friends. I was a conservative friend at one day. And what you need to do is you need to explain to them that we are on a merry-go-round of red, blue, red, blue. And it's the same policies, right? They're all for vax passports. They're all for lockdowns, all for mandatory vaccines. They're all for the Paris Accord. But there's no difference. Yet, these people say, I need to vote strategically. Well, you know what I say? You're voting strategically for them because they're deliberately making the polls look like you need to vote to get rid of Trudeau. And that's not true. If we had every conservative here vote, we would for the first time have a Bill Davis type of conservatives. So what do you think about that? Can you help out and get these people to vote PPC? What do you think? Can you do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? Can you do it? What's your argument going to be? They're going to go strategic. To me, the strategy is, if I vote for O'Toole, I'm voting for the same thing. So why are you doing that? Oh, well, you guys can't win. You're this or that. But I think we're showing them right here today that the people have woke up, and we're waking up more people. And you keep spreading the word. Got 4 days, 3 days, something like that. And we got to get those conservatives to believe in us because you need to vote with your conscience. You need to vote for the things you believe in. Do not reward people who disrespect you, who lock you down, people that cause your children to suffer. To me, and I just want an opinion, we got enough people here, we're going to do like a random poll. I think that masks are child abuse. What do you think? I think what we're doing to our children is absolutely disgusting. The years from 1 to 5 are probably the most crucial years of childhood development. And one of the most crucial things in childhood development is facial recognition, body language, tactile touch. Oxygen. Oh my God. Okay, thank you. That's Greg. Okay, we got a story here. So I'm going, let's say I'm working in a sewer or a really tight space. So as a worker, to be safe, what I need to do is I need to have, like those CO2 detectors and smoke detectors at home. They have those for air quality, right? So one of the gentlemen who works in one of these situations, they put it out. He's going to go fix the pipe or fix the wires, and he's in this closed space. So he takes his alarm system, just like your CO2 one at home. He shoves the tube in his mask. Within 5 seconds, the alarm goes off. You know what they do at his job? They sound the alarm and you get the heck out. And our children are breathing that every damn day. And it's not right. The other thing about humans that they're trying to do to us, they want us to be transhuman. The freak Klaus Schwab is puppet mastering our politics. He believes that we should be like the Borg from Star Trek. I don't know if anybody knows that, but he literally believes that, they're all trying to get into our heads with sensors. They're trying to put things in our bodies. They're thinking about chips. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. What I like is humanity, what God decided for us. Do you like humanity? I mean, we are human. And as human beings, we have the God-given right of association, of freedom of movement, freedom of speech. and to treat each other with respect, fairness, responsibility, and fairness. That's what the PPC wants. And what I mean by that is everybody here will pick up an energy force. Everything that they are doing, every single thing that they are doing is the opposite of what we should do. I'm going to reiterate the point about the Spanish flu would be over now. 2-3 months ago, over. No vaccines, no lockdowns. They had masks. That's when they realized they had bacterial pneumonia problems. But somewhere in 2020, we started rewriting history. We started changing what the definition of a vaccine is, the efficacy of masks. And basically, we've been lied to. So I'm going to put the question to you again. Does the current governments, especially Justin Trudeau and Aaron O'Toole, I'm going to ask one more time, and I want to know how much you feel about this. I believe that they're doing child abuse to our kids. I believe, right? Okay. So there's increased suicides. Everybody's read that.
400% no surgeries. There are no surgeries allowed right now.
Okay, so here we go. 400% increase in teen suicide. That means there's parents here without children right now. The mental health issues are going up. People are missing their surgeries, their diagnostics, their biopsies, and people are dying because of that for a supposed pandemic. Let me just explain why I think this is manufactured theater. Do you think this is manufactured theater? Like, all right, well, here's some ammo for you. So, my grandparents came over after World War I, about 1920, 1919. They lived through the Spanish flu. And guess what? 2.5 million orphans. Do you know what that means? That means that some of you people here with that baby, your wife and you died. That's it. And she's all alone, right? 2.5 million of those kids. When you went to church, anyway, I don't know, some people go to church. Anybody go to church here? I do. It's okay if you don't, because we're about, everybody does your thing, but I go to church, and I notice at the end, they're going to have the announcements, and they'll say, hey, the bake sale's here. We want to thank so-and-so. But you know what? And then they'll have some death, and we're going to pray for somebody that has cancer or somebody. But you know what? In 1920, 1919, around that era, guess what? He's not here next week, right? You're not here. You're not here. Every single person knew somebody directly. Oh my God, the guy I played hockey with, my neighbor, the couple at work died. That to me is a pandemic, right? Like you see death next door. Death is in your church. Death is in the street. Everybody knows somebody. Does anybody know anybody that died of COVID here in their circle? Anybody? So we have one back there, and we have one. Now, if it was the Spanish flu, I can guarantee you that we would have had probably, I think 18% of us would have known somebody or had died themselves. So this is manufactured theater. What we're gonna all right, okay, we haven't touched upon the point of small business. Okay, so not only does Justin Trudeau and every single person, in my opinion, in Parliament, in a position of power, Doug Ford, everybody, not only do they have blood on their hands for the people that have died from suicide, drug overdoses, etc., but what about the small businesses? What about the people that worked for the last 25 years to build something? The people that were a pillar in your community? They're getting crushed. And you know what? Guess what? Amazon doubled its profit, right? Amazon doubled its profit because it stole from the small businesses. What we would propose, what I would do, and I can't speak for Maxime, but my second bill, so my second bill would be along the lines of the first bill of no lockdowns. And if ever anybody had a lockdown, I would shut down Costco, I would shut down Amazon, I would shut down Home Depot, I would shut all those guys down. You guys go to the home hardware guy that's been in your neighborhood, who's lived in your neighborhood, you go to that lady store, you go to that gentleman's hair salon, and everybody else can shut down. How long do you think that would last? like 5 seconds. Oh my God, what will the board say? Oh my God, they're selling my stock. I'm going to take just a little break now. Jonathan, I'm going to give Jonathan the mic for a second, and then I'll conclude and we'll introduce Max and stuff. We got an ETA of approximately 10 minutes. So we're going to give it up for Jonathan. Yeah, I got that.
Mic not going to work? Okay. So, I don't know. If you've been out to any of our events we've done here, we've gone to Burlington, we went to Georgetown with Sil Carl, and I've just been going all over with a bunch of these candidates just to kind of inform everybody about the actual evidence for any of the garbage that... I can't turn it off?
Just speak.
Okay.
No, like speaking.
I can do it without the mic if I got it.
It's working.
Okay. How many people know Dave Rubin? Okay. Right, so we had 2 years ago, Max came around with Dave Rubin. He went down to Mohawk and Ancaster, and they were getting harassed by Antifa. Dave Rubin got suspended on Twitter about 2 weeks ago for saying that, the latest stuff the government's saying just isn't working as advertised. I think there's no better tagline than that for the last 18 months. Everything the government said is not working as advertised, and they know it because we can just look at how they act. We don't have to just look at Justin Trudeau going and taking a vacation over to Quebec with his family. We can look at Doug Ford going and having his daughters over for Mother's Day last year. We're telling everyone to stay home, save lives. Closer to the mic? Okay. So we have Justin Trudeau going and taking a vacation to Quebec last year with his kids because he thought his kids needed it. Doug Ford goes and has his daughters over for Mother's Day in 2020 while telling all of us to stay home. We have one of his, cabinet ministers, Rod Phillips, runs a coordinated campaign to make everyone think he's in Toronto eating pancakes while he's off in the Caribbean and telling all of us to stay home and save lives. Is this distinct to Canada? No, we can look all across America and we can look at mostly a lot of Democrats. We have Gavin Newsom, who somehow managed to beat the recall. No, he goes, what does he do? He goes to the French Laundry, one of the most expensive restaurants in the entire Napa Valley in California. He racks up a $15,000 bar tab while going and shutting down the entire state of California. He then goes, he bans indoor dining, outdoor dining, stay-at-home curfew, statewide mask mandate in California. Did any of it work? No. Do you think that if we were to go and sit Doug Ford down, sit Christine Elliott down, sit down any one of these experts, and we were to ask them to go and, find the outcomes of Florida just on a plot unlabeled, could they do it? No, of course not, because none of what they've done works. They don't cite any evidence, they cite their models. Their models are laughably wrong. Their models have always been laughably wrong. We can take Neil Ferguson's model in the United Kingdom. We get a Swedish university, goes and applies it to Sweden. What do they predict? More deaths in Sweden by July of 2020 than they have today. You had a group at the University of Washington said of Sweden, if they don't have a mask mandate by October the 1st of 2020, they will have 20 deaths per day. What was the correct answer? 2. They said of Sweden, if they don't put in a mask mandate, then by December the 1st, they will have 150 deaths per day. What was the correct answer? About 50. So what did they do when they found that their models didn't work? Did they go and they reassess any of their assumptions? No, they just went back their prediction from October up to November, and they carried on as always. None of what they've done worked. We heard from the likes of, Anthony Fauci, Michael Osterholm, Eric Feigl-Ding, when Ron DeSantis correctly said at the end of September 2020, almost 12 months ago, that we're done with this, it's over, no more lockdowns in Florida, nobody gets to enforce any of this stuff at the city level.
A Christian man.
We heard Michael Osterholm go and say that Florida was going to be a house on fire within 8 to 10 weeks. What happened? It wasn't Florida that was a house on fire. It was California, one of the most locked down states in all of America. At that point, there was a ban on unnecessary walking in Los Angeles. You couldn't take a walk around Los Angeles. Well, maybe you don't want to, but you couldn't. Yeah. Okay. Australia. What are about the only 2 places that any adherent to lockdowns will tell us that did it right? Australia, New Zealand. So they'll cite 2 islands, kind of in the middle of nowhere in the South Pacific. If you hear anything about any country in South America, what are you going to hear anything about? Brazil. Why? Jair Bolsonaro. And the second one is that they can scare people with very big numbers while not mentioning that Brazil has a population of about 210 million people. What they will not tell you anything about is Peru. What did Peru do? They went for as much of the zero COVID line as anyone in the world, even more than New Zealand. Within 2 weeks of the first known case in Peru, nationwide lockdown enforced by the military. They went from mid-March of 2020 to the 1st of July 2020. That wasn't all. They had a nationwide mask mandate. They had a nationwide curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. The entire population of Peru was confined to their houses. That didn't work, so they made it go from 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. Some parts they made it go from 4 p.m. to 5 a.m. So for 13 hours a day, you had people in Peru confined to their house. Everyone else, they were only confined for 11 hours. Peru even tried something very unique. They said that on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, only men were allowed out of the house for essential activity. Yes, nobody believes me when I tell them this, but they also said that women were only allowed out on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. They had to cancel this idea in 8 days because they found the lines were too long on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So they get to the end of when they're putting in their lockdown at the end of July 1st, 2020. And a week later, Peru had the worst death rate in the world. Peru has had a stranglehold on the worst death rate in the world since July of 2020. In fact, it has gotten so bad in Peru that their cumulative death rate is something like 600 per 100,000. The number 2 and number 3 countries are, I think, Bosnia and Hungary at about 300 per 100,000. Peru went for zero COVID, it failed. All we hear from the advocates of the zero COVID line are New Zealand, Australia. It simply doesn't work. They refuse to talk to Peru. Now, how did the World Health Organization try and explain away Peru? Their rep said that, well, we should be careful. These are just deaths with the virus. We don't know that these are deaths from the virus. And if you think I'm making that up, this is coming from an article from NPR written about September 2020 to explain away how Peru could have possibly failed. Aren't these things kind of unique to Peru? No, we can just keep looking throughout all of Europe and we can see that all the countries that got praised for handling COVID exactly correctly, like the Czech Republic and Germany, all of a sudden we get to fall 2020, the masks just stopped working. Why? Well, we kind of knew. You gotta wrap up? Okay, I think Max is somewhere on the building, somewhere on the grounds. So, what, do you want me to wrap up?
Check, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, give him a hand, Jonathan. All right. Okay, guys, we got flag. Where's Gilbert? Gilbert, I need my PPC flag. Where'd Gilbert go? Gilbert? Okay, you grab the flag. We're going to meet Max. He's going to come up there. I'm going to speak for 2 minutes. You guys give me the signal, and we'll get him going on. I just wanted to say a couple last things. We've got some people who already volunteered, and just so you spell the name correctly, it's Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, Bator, or they say Bator, but it's BATOR.com, and you can volunteer. A lovely lady, a polling station in her building. How cool is that? Is that cool? Thank you very much. And I'm sure other of you guys live next door to a polling station, so please go and sign in. Now, I wanted to finish up with my friends from the West. I don't make a deal that's a bad deal. I don't care if I spend 2 weeks on it, 2 months, 5 months. I'm not going to make a bad deal like that. And the reason why our party will restore normalcy, not just because of the lunacy of this new normal, transhumanism, new world order, communism, authoritarianism, but because we have a sound economic platform. Do you guys like our economic platform? Kinda? I mean, I'm very scared that they're going after our houses, our primary residence. You want to go after my cottage or, this rental property that someone bought? That's great. But don't you screw with my primary property and take my children's money away. That's what I'm scared of. What do you think about that? Is that bad?
It's coming.
Now, I can't promise, but I will vote against anything that will increase taxes. I'm sick of taxes. Carbon tax. I want to get rid of the carbon tax. Do you want to get rid of the carbon tax? Do you want to get rid of capital gains tax or bring it down? What do you say? I want to shrink government. We want to shrink government. Are you good with shrinking government? Okay, are you guys ready? Are you ready? I want us to give us some love for Max, so let's get it going on now, and let's start cheering for Max. Ready? Maxime, okay, he's coming. I think we should say Max, Max, Max. What do you guys think? Max, 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 Max. Hello, everybody. How are you? That's a nice day to fight for freedoms and to fight for what we believe. I want to thank you to be here this morning. So, we just received another bad news coming from Alberta. Jason Kenney, as you know, said a couple of weeks ago that he doesn't know what is a vaccine passport, and he wants implemented a vaccine passport in his province. But today, he flip-flopped like O'Toole on the vaccine passport, and he said that he will impose the vaccine passport in Alberta, and he said that he's supporting O'Toole because O'Toole also support the vaccine passport all across the country. Shame on them, they're not considered anymore. Now, as you know, that's the question of this election. Do you want more government control or more freedom? What do we want? Yes, freedom. And I can tell you, we will win that battle of ideas. We will gain back our freedom. And all that will start the 20th of September because all our people across the country, not only here, but in New Brunswick, in BC, all across the country, people know that this election is an historical one to fight and gain back our freedoms against these authoritarian measures that they are imposing on us. We are for freedom, so we are for freedom of choice. And that's why we respect everybody, but we don't want people to be segregated because they decide, that's their decision. If somebody wants to decide that they won't have the vaccine, that's their own choice. You know, my body, my choice, our body, our choice. And we know that vaccinated people or unvaccinated people, both of them, everybody is in the same boat because everybody can spread the virus. So why doing segregation in our country? Why, you know, I won't be able to go to a restaurant in Quebec, same thing in Alberta, it will come here in Ontario, all across the country. But in Quebec, it's okay for me to go to my church. There's no difference. Do you think that there's more viruses in a restaurant than in a church? It's not based on science. It's not based on common sense. That fear and emergency act here across the country must end. There's no more emergency. We know what to do with that virus. If you want to take the vaccine, you can. But vaccinated people, listen to me.
You're not in danger if I'm with you. Everybody must be united together under the freedom umbrella. Justin Trudeau, O'Toole, Kenny, Kenny,
Sorry.
yeah, okay.
Kenny, everybody.
Okay, everybody.
Microphone. While we're waiting, Max, these two children, 10 and 6, are being denied education. They are unable to document to be able to learn.
It's okay. What I was saying, O'Toole, Trudeau, Kenny, Ford, they are all in the same boat. They want now, they did segregation by race, by gender, by religion, and now it will be by vaccination status. We are saying no to more segregation or to segregation in our country. No more discrimination, no more segregation, no more lockdowns. And yes, we respect our kids, like you just said. Our kids must be able to go to school without masks. That must be the choice of the parents if they want their kids to wear a mask or not. That must be their choice, not a mandate from the government. That's the tyrannical government. That's more tyranny. And we know when tyranny becomes law, revolution becomes our duty. That's common sense revolution. That will be the question of this election. This country has been one of the freest countries in the world in the last 154 years, and now we are losing our freedoms. We cannot take for granted our freedoms anymore, and we know that without freedom, there's no human dignity, there's no equality of rights, there's no economic prosperity. We are fighting for our Western civilization. We are fighting for our way of life. We are saying no to that new normal. There's no new normal. We just want to go back to our life before COVID-19. I need you, and I believe that Canadians need us also. They need that freedom voice in Ottawa. I need you because, as you know, at the last elections, we had 300,000 votes. If each one of these voters can find 10 more voters, we will have 3 million votes. And if we have 3 million votes, we'll be around 16% in the polls. So, don't hesitate to stand up and speak out for your rights. Do like I did when they arrested me and cuffed and put in jail for a non-crime in Manitoba after a political gathering in a park, when the police asked me a question about, do you have any weapons? Anything that can hurt me? I was very surprised because, as you know, it was the first time that I was arrested. And so I said, weapons? No. Only my words, only my philosophy. I want you to use your words like I'm doing right now to use your words as your weapons. And we will be successful. We will win that revolution, that common sense revolution. We still have 5 days before the election. You still have time to speak to your friends, your colleagues, your co-workers, your family that don't know about the PPC, because there's a lot of Canadians still that don't know that we exist. Because the mainstream media didn't like what you are saying. As you know, they know that if they gave us more coverage, we'll have more people that will come on our side, because we are speaking the truth based on facts and on common sense. We cannot count on the mainstream media. That's why I count on you. You can count on me and all our candidates across the country. They will be in Ottawa. I will be in Ottawa. And to do that fight, you'll have freedom fighters in Ottawa the 28th of September. Because we know when they told us only 2 weeks to flatten the curve, only 2 weeks to flatten the curves. Now, only 5 days to flatten the lies. And I count on you. No more lies. No more lockdowns, no more lies, no more mass mandate, no more curfew, no more stay-at-home orders. We want all freedom back.
We want our freedom back. And I will fight also to win my own riding in both. So that's why in 10 minutes I will do a debate, a Zoom debate with the candidates in my riding in both. And I can tell you I will win that debate that I will have in 10 minutes. And I will win that debate. I will win that election in both, and I'll be there. I'll be there to fight for us with our candidates.
Yes, and I will be there, so I count on you. And I just want to end by the quote that I like from John F. Kennedy, because that quote is the reality that we are living under tyranny right now in Canada. And John F. said, in the long history of the world, only few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its maximum hour of danger. You are that generation. This is your life, and now is the time. We will defend our freedom. Freedom, 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 freedom. Thank you. Randy, you know another freedom fighter. Randy started the end of gun caucus here. And Randy, the father of that movement, the father of the common sense and our freedom back, is here for you and with you, and he will fight. And I really appreciate that, Randy. We are doing that together. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Max. Max and I have got something in common other than freedom this morning. We're getting a little hoarse and from all the talking we've been doing lately. So, listen, it's wonderful to see. I'm not going to be too forceful on my language, my voice this morning. Just trying to get it calmed down a little bit. But it's wonderful to be here with Max. Wonderful to be here in Oakville. Wonderful to be with people who stand for freedom in our country. And we know this last 18 months has been very, very hard on so many people in our country. Our kids being forced to wear masks, our elderly being isolated and confined and without loved ones in their final days, people under threat, coercion of losing their jobs. And we know this 18 months has been full of darkness for many people. And we also know there is no end to it with the current political parties and the current governments. There is no end. It'll just get worse and worse. But thankfully, Justin Trudeau has done one thing right in his life. And he's called an election, and we get to pass judgment on Monday. Finally, we have a solution to end this madness. And it's the only solution. And we have to get out there, and we have to pass judgment on this 18 months of lies and falsehoods and dishonesty. And Trudeau and Ford and all the rest, they have done such a disservice to all Canadians. They've made it that it's dangerous for Canadians to be truthful and honest in our own country, in our own communities. They try to heap scorn and ridicule and shame on anybody who speaks truthfully and honest. We cannot have a good community. We cannot have a good country if we cannot have honesty and truthfulness. And they're continuing with their dishonesty. Because everywhere we go, we see hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands. Last night in Elmer, we had 4,000 people out to the event in Elmer last night. But the media will never cover this. The media won't ever show people what's happening. The media and the government want to ignore this, ignore you, pretend we don't exist, pretend that there are no people seeking freedom in our country. They're continuing with their lies even today, and we're going to show them something different. We're here standing for freedom. We're going to continue to stand for freedom every day in this province, every day in this country. We're going to stand with Maxime Bernier, and we're going to win on September 20th. And I'm going to say this. This election is not about who is going to be elected to represent you, although that will happen. What this election is about are our children, our young ones, our grandchildren. That's what's going to be determined. Are they going to have a future of freedom? Are they going to have a future of faith? Are they going to have a future at all? Thank you very much. That's who we're working for. And just like my parents and grandparents and your parents and grandparents stood up and made sure that we could all enjoy a country of freedom with a future, with prosperity, we have to do the same for our children and grandchildren, just as they did before. And I'm excited. And I'll tell you a few reasons why I'm excited. In Canada, we know there's at least 6.5 million people just like everyone here in this audience. Just like me, just like Max, just like the PPC candidates. 6.5 million Canadians are opposed to these vaccine passports, opposed to these mandatory back passes, opposed to the masking of our little children in school, opposed to the isolation and confinement of our elderly. They're opposed to the tyranny of Trudeau and Ford. And those 6.5 million people know that it doesn't matter, Trudeau or O'Toole or Singh, there's not an ounce of daylight between them. They all want the same thing. They all want to control you. They all want to continue this story of fear and danger and terror. And then there's one party that stands alone. One party that stands apart. One national leader that stands for you. And that's Maxime Bernier in the PPC. So let me tell you this. 6.5 million Canadians are just like us. In the last federal election, Justin Trudeau won with 6 million votes. Can you win? Can we win? Absolutely. And we're going to win. Just like every other time Canadians have stood up and fought, we have always won. We've never lost. And we're not going to lose this one for our children and our grandchildren. So I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited because all those 6.5 million Canadians who want freedom have only one place to go. That's the PPC. And I also want to just say, many people have lost faith and confidence in our electoral system, but they're conflating the American system with our system. We don't use voting machines in this country. We ship them down to the United States, but we don't use them here. Right? So you can have confidence. Every ballot that you cast is going to be counted by a person. But here's something else that you can do. Every candidate is permitted to have scrutineers at the polling station. Scrutineers over the count to make sure no little ballots get placed in the wrong pile or no ballots get recorded the wrong way. Be our eyes, be the verification. Make sure our system is fair and that freedom has a good chance on polling day. Become a scrutineer. Get a lawn sign, put it in your yard today if you haven't done so already. Get out and vote. Get all your friends and family members to come out and vote. But then scrutineer, and let's make sure this vote is a vote that is fair and freedom will win on September 20th. And I'm going to say, well, even mail-in ballots, we will have an army of scrutineers in Ottawa watching over. There might be a little hanky-panky, but we're not going to let much hanky-panky go on there. And that's a hard thing to do in Ottawa. I've seen those guys at work. So, but listen, September 20th is a big day. But there's going to be a big job after. We've been on a slippery slope for a long time in this country. And we're down pretty deep at the bottom of that slope. But on September 20th, Maxime Bernier, myself, all the PPC candidates, and all of you will get a toehold together and we'll start climbing back up that slippery slope. And we're going to reach the top. We're going to reach the top where we have freedom, where we have a future, where we have our faith, and it's protected, and nobody will take it away from us ever again. Join with us. Let's make this happen. There is no option. There is no choice. We have to win for our children and our grandchildren. Let's get to it. And I'm going to be with Maxime Bernier and the PPC all the way. And then I'm going to turn my attention to another little bugger called Doug Ford after that. Right? Let's keep at it. Let's win. Let's have freedom. Thank you.
right, everybody, I just wanted to say something. We got some power. Hey, we had just long enough, but what I want to say is my name is Michael Bader. Will you vote for me? Yeah! I've got JDB right here in Oakville. You gonna vote for him? And I've got Gilbert. He's up there. Right in Oakville North. Will you vote for him? All of this is not worth anything if you do not show up on the 20th. All of our work, all of our fighting, everything. Michael Bader, yeah, thank you very much. I love her. I love her. I didn't pray her, honest. She just did it. So what I want to say is you have to go to vote. You have to get through this. Randy is right. We're not voting county. We want to make sure they're all on the state.
Hey everyone, Greg Staley here from Diverge Media. Pretty much concludes, it looks like, the event today in Oakville. Just want to give you a shot of like beautiful background here. I mean, there's worse places that could cover things. But that was Maxime Bernier, Randy Hillier, as long as the NP candidates here in the area. Pulling crowds everywhere they go right now, and being ignored by the media for a long time, and now the media is starting to pay attention almost because they have to. But today looks like probably 300 to 500 people showed up at the peak. Maybe that's a bit high. We'll go 200 to 400-ish. Like, it's tough to tell. I'm a terrible estimate of crowds, so take that with a giant grain of salt. But anyways, we're gonna wrap up here, provided I can't pull an interview or two here before I leave. But thank you for tuning in to Diverge Media. Visit divergemedia.ca for news articles about Canadian politics and what's going on in the world. And if you can, donate. We have merch as well, hats, and we have t-shirts, Media is a Virus t-shirts, custom designs that you'll find nowhere else. So thank you for tuning in. Again, I'll keep the stream here, but concludes the tour portion of the stop. We'll see if we can pull a few interviews here. Thank you. Actually, okay. I'm actually going to cut the stream here, and then I'll record interviews if I can pick any up. Look for them on the page at Diverge Media News. But copyright, unfortunately, is a tricky thing, and they're playing music that is copyrighted. So thank you again for joining us. I'm Greg Staley of Diverge Media. Visit divergemedia.ca. If you can make a donation, please do so. We also have merch available. Thank you. We'll see you next time.